I'm delving further and further into my study on what the future holds for all of us. I'm thrilled to have with us my very, very dear friend, Mirabelle D'Cunha, who's joining us all the way from the Cayman Islands. Mirabelle is a dynamic keynote speaker, a wisdom keeper. I love that term, by the way, Mirabelle, beautifully coined, and a mentor. She's known for her ability to inspire clarity, vitality, and contentment. She has a diverse background in teaching and mentoring, has worked with top international corporations like PwC, Intertrust, and many, many more. She was inclined to seek holistic healing through yoga and Ayurveda, as she had a debilitating slip disc of her own, and we'll talk to her a little bit about that. She now implements HeartMath, an evidence-based program that uses science and award-winning technology to empower individuals to transform stress and anxiety. Her technology and her methodology has been used by organizations such as Unilever, NASA, Mayo Clinic, and many more. She is also the mother of a delightful young girl and is a very, very dear friend, someone who I know I can reach out to at any point, someone who has had a very calming and therapeutic effect on me. So, Mirabelle, firstly, thank you for your presence in my life. And then thank you for agreeing to do this interview. Welcome to the talk.
Thank you so much, Vibha. It warms my heart, and I really feel the warmth of your appreciation. And, you know, when we appreciate someone, it makes us feel really good and appreciate them, their presence in our life. So I feel that totally for you, your practicality and your no-nonsense attitude, and yet you have so much heart. And that is just like a stellar combination.
Oh my God, wow. I never looked at myself like that, but thank you for being my mirror. All right. So, Mirabelle, as we start talking about this book and the topic of the future of work, and it's interesting because you are a practitioner of yoga, you're a therapist. And a lot of times, when I talk to a sort of spiritually inclined person, they say, hey, forget about the future, live in the now, breathe, experience the now. But at the same time, a lot of us are anxious and we're always constantly looking towards the future. So, as someone who sort of has their eyes on the now, but is also looking at the future, do you guys look at the future in your field? Do you think about the future? Is the future important, or is it just, do you just prefer living in the now?
Yeah, the future is inevitable, right? So how can we disregard anything?
Mm.
The whole practice has taught me that there's nothing to reject and everything to allow. And then how we are with it is what shifts it, right? So in the now, there is the possibility, even in this moment, of how this conversation could go. It could go in multiple different ways. And that what I tune into, what feels relevant, what feels authentic to me to share at this moment, will determine the present continuous, which then becomes the future. So it's not possible for the human mind to not think about the future. I think only maybe highly evolved people, and I can't speak for that because I'm pretty human, can kind of stop thinking about the future. I think the practice of spirituality as an experience, not as a philosophical practice, is having thoughts about the future, but having trust. So
Mm.
you make plans, you notice patterns. The more you do inner work, the more you notice patterns and you see where things are sort of starting to go. And then you can tune yourself to be in the flow of that, or how to sort of live with that, but not get like, very aggressively attached to what the future should or must look like.
Mm.
And I think, it's not possible or human or practical to disregard the future. So
Okay.
that is what is present in the now. Yeah,
Okay, beautiful. I love the transformation from the present continuous will eventually become the future. And as long as you're doing it sort of mindfully and without too much attachment, you don't think it's a bad thing. You're saying it's normal, it's human to think about the future.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay. Now, with that context being set, as you work with various clients, you work with corporations, you're working with individuals, what are you seeing as sort of emerging trends in terms of the future of workspaces, employees, CEOs, leaders? What are you seeing? You've been in this practice for a very long time. What are some of the trends you're seeing coming through?
Yeah, so one of the trends is, huge mental health issues for sure. And also physical health issues. And they're constantly correlated, and people didn't used to want to talk about them before, but now people are much more comfortable talking about them. they're getting comfortable talking about them in the workplace and advocating for getting support or getting, understanding or, space to work from home, whatever it is they need, so that they can sort of take care of themselves. That was not present a few years ago. There is more of a movement towards that. And I'm also finding most of my clients that I work one-on-one with are C-suite professionals. So I get to see a different sort of picture because they usually have extremely high stress. And then through the work that we do one-on-one, they start to transform, and then they notice patterns in their organization. They notice, how training around communication, for example, is based only on transaction. How can I communicate to get things done? But that doesn't necessarily bring harmony. I'm seeing a big breakdown in the idea of hierarchy, which was very present earlier. This is my boss, or I'm the boss, and like I call the shots. And now it's coming more to sort of a collaborative understanding. Like, how can I meet people where they are? Because this old paradigm was not working. My employees are not, they have I want respect. I don't want people to just listen because I'm the boss. That ego trip is not enough, or it's not. People really want to start feeling valued, no matter where they are, whether they're at the top of the ladder or they're like just starting out. Feeling valued and feeling appreciated, genuinely feeling it physically in their body, like the warmth, the feeling of connection is becoming very important to people, especially since, this sort of, like, we're in front of screens all the time, no matter what we do. No matter what we do, we're in front of screens all the time. So the hunger, so to speak, for connection is getting stronger, and the hunger for authenticity is getting stronger. Right now, I'm seeing a pattern where there is still like a friction between, well, I want to be authentic, I want to say what I really feel, but I'm not quite sure that I should. And the shift is starting to happen where it's like, no, I should, but I don't know how to say it in a way that it's received well by my employees or by my boss or, by my partner. And then there is now I'm starting to see investment that people are genuinely willing to make consistently in their well-being and in their connection to themselves.
Okay.
I think that's only going to increase as technology takes over more and more.
Okay, so that you said a lot of things, and I think each one of them requires like a 1 hour conversation. But for the sake of this interview, let's sort of break down a couple of things you talked about. You said there's more mental health in the workspace, and in generally there's more openness to these sort of conversations. Just staying on mental health first. What are the triggers? Like, what do you think is causing this mental health? Is it the technology? Is it the screen time that you spoke about? Or if you trace it back, like where is it stemming from? What are the symptoms, and what's the sort of cause and effect?
Yeah, so I think mental health issues have always been there from time immemorial, right? The reason that they are much more now is because of the level of disconnection we have with ourselves. The breakdown of two things largely. One is the breakdown of people's belief in religion all over the world. Now, I'm not supporting religion. I'm just saying it gave people a way to have an anchor that, okay, somebody's got my back. Something's got my back, right?
Yeah, some sort
That's
of support system.
Some kind of a belief system that may helps you understand the world outside of the commercial transactional aspect of the world, right? And the other thing was the family unit. Even though people had disagreements and, like joint family, this, that, whatever, there was still the fact that there's somebody in my home. Whether I get along with them or not, at least I wake up the next day to fight with somebody. There's some motivation. But as that is starting to break down, now there is no anchor. What you're going to anchor to, right? You're going to anchor to money, to fame, to position, but you want to celebrate everything we want to achieve in the past, now, or in the future is because we are chasing a feeling. If you want to make $1 million, you want to be on the Forbes list. Why? Because it makes me feel powerful. It makes me feel accomplished. Why? Because that makes me feel happy, or it makes me feel accepted. So whatever the goal is, we are always chasing a feeling, and a feeling can only be felt in the body.
So the achievement is always linked to an emotion.
Yes, it is a perception of an emotion I will have when I achieve whatever I've set out to achieve, right? And so when those things are now broken down, people have no map for life. And that's causing a lot. So I'm chasing, like everybody else is chasing, or social media is telling me to do this, or, social media is the preacher today. First you went to a satsang or you went to a church. Today, where are you getting all your inspiration, information, everything from
Belief
social media?
system, value system.
Everything, right? But there is no systematization to that system, right? Whether you have family, there are rituals in a family that, okay, you wake up, you do this, you have breakfast together. There are rituals that ground you. Whether it's religion, you go and you pray together, or you do a puja, it's a ritual that grounds you. So there is nothing for people to ground them. Some people are using exercise and, things like that. And so all of that is coming, it's exacerbating the mental health issues that were always there. And I want to really say this one thing, Vibha. Mental health is not a problem. In the context of yoga and Ayurveda and spiritual sciences, right? Mental health is the highest level of human evolution. Mental clarity, mental connection, which involves the heart. When we use the word mental health in the context, I did a whole blog post about it because, I've been like noticing this pattern. Everybody's like mental health issues, these statistics came up and these statistics came up. We have reduced mental health now to, what we've done with healthcare. It's disease care, but we called it healthcare. Right. And the same thing is happening with mental health. So I think that's something that needs to be defined. And, one other thing I'll say is that people are starting to realize now that even drugging themselves with, anti-anxiety, sleep medication, whatever, is not helping them beyond a point. And because of the breakdown of belief system, which is a good thing too, they're coming to see now, how can I look out of the box? Look at alternative, look at integrative. So that's a big shift and trend that's happening.
You identified two very key things, these two key trends, right? Like the movement away from religion more so, and then the movement away from these units of family. Both these to me, Mirabelle, look like they're just going to escalate in the future. We are living more and more nuclear families. Now people are even getting separated. Teenagers are moving out of their homes. So this nuclear family concept is going to get more and more sort of amplified. Now, what does this mean in the context of work? Okay. And let's take this, let's divide into two very simple things, the employer and the employee. Now, to start with whichever one, explain to us what it means if you're either one, and how should your organization be evolving if you are the employer? What should you be doing? What should you be setting up? What are some of the best practices going forward? And if you're an employee, then how should you be advocating for this change? How should you be voicing? Like, what is that balance? If you could talk us through that, please.
Yeah. So I think, the employer, because it's making the profits, has the responsibility and the ability, because it has the money to, really make sure that these changes or these opportunities are provided to the employees. And really, I think the opportunity here is everybody showing up to work, whether virtually or in person. That is like a family. It's like a commitment out of, necessity or whatever. And that is a place where then systems can be put in place where there are different choices for people to be able to connect with themselves first and then connect with others. Because we can talk about family breaking down, all of those things, absolutely 100% true. But the most important relationship we have, apart from, if you believe in God, then that, but if not, is with yourself, because you spend 24 hours a day with yourself. So that is the most important connection to maintain, to enhance, all of that. And then from that, that affects your mental state, affects your and mental state is what? It is an interaction of your nervous system and your hormonal system.
I'm the CEO of a large company. I have all like 500 employees. How do I enable my employees to connect with themselves? What should I be doing?
So I'll tell you, one of my clients that's a CEO of a big bank, she started changing. So she's having her meals at fixed times, which she never used to do before. She just eat on the go. And then she's very, very busy. So she's decided after her meal every day, she takes her EA out for a walk, and they work while taking a walk. So she's still getting some physical movement in and getting out of the office space, getting some fresh air. And so now she started to invite other people to do the same thing. So there's still productivity happening. It's in fact better productivity because there's a change of scene. There's, it's just a different environment. And because she shifted that energy and she's okay with that, she just made the change in her life, right, Vibha? And then seeing the effects herself, she decided to share it with others. Now more people are doing it. So it's not a product like you have to do it, or, if you do this, you'll perform better. It's like, hey, you know what? I'm a human person just like you. I'm the CEO of a company. It's just that I have a different position. I'm doing this. It's really helping me. Why don't you try it? But we don't compromise on productivity. We don't compromise on the deliverables. And it's totally possible. The whole thing is a process of energy management. Where am I leaking energy, or where is my organization leaking energy? Not just in terms of systems, but in terms of human interaction. And how can the systems of human interaction and the methodology of communication be taught? Because it needs to be taught. We are not taught these things. So training around that, practice, and compliance with the training procedures. Because if you just do lunch and learns, like I do lunch and learns all the time, and I tell them it's not going to change anything. You're going to get some information. You're going to say, oh, that's how I know. Oh, that makes total sense. That's why I'm like this. And then 2 hours later, you're going to do the same thing. So we have to rewire the neural pathways. I'll give you another example. In one of the
How do you
audit,
rewire the neural pathway? Just by repeatedly doing the same?
by changing your perception, adopting a new technique that works, and repeating it over and over again. And that's where I'm using biometrics in these big organizations, because it's thousands of people. We can work one-on-one. We can get everybody, on board all the time. So we do cohorts where, teams compete against each other for who's more coherent, which means whose nervous system is more like in harmony, right? We teach them the science because it's very logical, it's very objective. Everybody can get it. There's no subjectivity in that particular kind of science, right? You do this is the result. You put the biometric device, you can track it. We see the data, the company gets the data, they know it's working.
What are you checking with the biometric? Are you checking the heart rate? Are you seeing how?
HRV, yeah, in response to practices that they're doing.
Oh, wow. Okay. And you're seeing
so simple 2-minute practices
to
calm their nervous system down, bring the prefrontal cortex back online. Prefrontal cortex is where we make logical executive decisions. So we don't leak energy. We're just clear and we're doing what needs to be done. So we track that. When you start, you can see you haven't done the practice, then you do the practice. You see the difference, then you feel the difference. And then this is trackable for each individual in the company. And then you get the data together and you've got teams and they're competing against each other.
Wow.
And they're chatting with each other on their company chats and saying, hey, you know what, I did my practice today. I really don't feel like doing it today. But, I committed to this program. And someone said, you know what, I didn't feel like doing it. I did it and I'm feeling better. So it's bringing some kind of interaction and humanity. That's not just talking about like, oh, did you
and you're seeing corporations sponsor these kind of programs more and more.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're actually very happy to do it because it's dealing with stress in a way that in the past, all the talk around stress was around psychology. Now I've brought neuroscience and physiology in, and physiology is very simple to understand. There's no like, oh, maybe this is going on. Whatever's going on, you do this practice, there will be a shift. Is it a solution to everything? No. But will it bring a shift? Is this shift statistically significant? Yes.
Okay. So from an employer perspective, they can invest, and they are increasingly so investing in programs like this. Anything you would suggest from a regulation perspective, human, the HR policies, hours they need to work, hours they need to sit on their desk. Like as an expert in this area, if you would, let's say, assume I was the CEO of a 5,000 person company, and you're giving me advice and saying, listen, this is how you got to manage the workforce of the future. Here are some best practices. What would you advocate for?
Yeah, I would definitely advocate for listening deeply to what the employees want, to making them feel like what they're saying matters, not because what they're suggesting is right, but because the place that they are coming from is a place of safety. If somebody is sharing that I'm feeling mentally, unwell, or that I need support in the workplace, and that's by, having less hours or being able to work from home, or, whatever it is, we don't have to agree with it, but recognizing that I've created as a CEO a safe space where this person is actually able to articulate that. And then I take the data of what they're saying and see, how I can actually make this happen.
Hmm.
I think that's going to be really, really important in the future, to be
Hmm.
able to work with different kinds of people, different needs, but to make them feel heard and provided for, and get solutions from people as well, value solutions that come from people.
Hmm. Okay. So you don't think it's about the long hours and the weekend workings and the
I
desk?
definitely think it's about that, but people who are at the top, and that's why I like to work with people at the top.
Hmm.
When they change and they see it's possible, then they're able to actually infuse that energy into their employees. Otherwise, it's just, this needs to be done, like just suck it up and do it.
Hmm.
They're sucking it up and doing it themselves because they also have mental health issues and they also have physical health issues.
Hmm.
They're not sitting there like,
Okay.
being
So
completely
the change
content.
begins at the top, and then once they sort of experience the change, implement the change.
Yes, change is an experience, Vibha.
Hmm.
Change is an experience. It's not a cognitive thing.
Hmm.
That it's an experience that is ongoing, and that therefore, because of the power of the experience, it is transformative. And
Okay.
that gives the Shakti or the energy to be able to really want change for employees.
Hmm. Okay.
And that change that anybody must make, right? It has to be clearly understood, and it is moving towards that it comes with taking responsibility. It's
Okay.
not the employer's responsibility alone. It's not the employee's responsibility alone. If
It's a
the training
shared.
is being provided, can I make sure that I'm there and 100% practicing?
Hmm.
Not just showing up. If
Okay.
I'm an employer, is my HR actually just doing things to check off the box? Because that happens a lot. It's a wellness month. Let's do like, juice, yay, this, that, whatever.
Hmm. Okay.
There's no heart in it.
Okay. Let's shift a little bit from the dynamic between employee to educators. What do you recommend that the school system does? Because by the time the person's come to me as an employee, I mean, I can set up these programs and I'm sort of helping them at a sort of surface level. But it starts with the family and then your school, college, whatever. So what should they be doing? What should they be teaching? How should they be addressing this sort of at a premature state so that it doesn't even evolve to
Absolutely.
this stage?
That's a brilliant question. And really, we must go back that far to school and family.
Hmm.
So there are two things I think every individual needs to learn as essential life skills. One is how to regulate your nervous system so you can bring it back to a sense of ease or calm physiologically. The second one is the ability for interoception, which is to notice the biofeedback your body is giving you to any situation, any thought. What is biofeedback? Okay, now I'm like, oh, there's this interview and like I have to say these things and then there's stress and oh, I noticed that it's making my heart race faster,
Hmm.
for instance, right? That's biofeedback. But being aware of that,
Palms getting sweaty.
sweaty, the throat getting choked before a
Okay.
presentation, all of these things are biofeedback, and our body is constantly giving us that. Constantly. This is a given, right? If we can feel the biofeedback, we can process it. We have immediate, oh, now I'm feeling uncomfortable. Why am I feeling uncomfortable? Oh, because I wonder if this person is going to judge my presentation, for
Hmm.
instance, right? Then you kind of do self-inquiry from there, which
Hmm.
I'm not going to get into, but it's a process, right?
So you're
But if
saying
you don't have that, you say, no, 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 I'm going to try and prove this. I'm going to push myself. I'm going to do that. You create more stress for yourself. You
hmm.
don't feel your feelings. And when I say feelings, I mean you don't feel the sensation that's arising from your body authentically.
Hmm.
That accumulation becomes mental health issues and physical health issues.
So are
So
you
two.
saying the schools and colleges can now start training students to get more sensitized, get more aware? And
Yes, absolutely. Because school essentially is training people into what is good and what is bad. What makes you a good person and a bad person, a good student or a bad student. Which means that you are being trained to gain approval of someone or validation of someone who is in a higher position than you. You're
hmm.
not being trained to be authentic. You're not being trained in what do I really want to feel? What do I really want? No, I'm being good in class and doing my homework because if not, I'm going to get shouted at. I'm not going to be a good kid.
Hmm.
You
Okay.
see,
Hmm.
it's reward based, it's
Hmm.
validation based. So
Hmm.
then we do everything for reward and validation. The loss of that, the price we pay is connection with ourselves, being
Hmm.
able to listen to ourselves.
Okay, wow. Okay. But how now? Now assume I'm in a school administrator or principal. Now, how do I go and administer these changes in my school?
Yeah. So first, the training of the teachers is really important. I train in some of the schools. I do this pro bono stuff because I really believe that it's so important, right? Teachers are not taught about the nervous system. They have no education about it in their teacher training. So they don't understand when a child is throwing a tantrum, for example, or a child is fighting back aggressively, that this is a fight response. And what's actually happening in the brain and the nervous system, and how can we shift that? When we learn that, we apply it to ourselves, then the teachers start to recognize children's behavior as, oh, this is a freeze response. It's not that this child doesn't want to answer me or is being disrespectful and not answering me. It's just that this child is in a freeze response. Now, how can I help this child from that place? It's
Okay.
very different.
Very
It's
different.
meeting the person where they are instead of expecting them to meet you
You
with your
where you are.
expectations.
Okay,
It
wow.
changes the
A very
entire
different
energy,
approach.
Vibha, entire energy,
It's like
right?
a
And then
paradigm shift. You're just shifting the onus entirely. Wow.
exactly,
Okay.
yeah. And then say, for example, like a child has had a fight with somebody, right? And you say, now that's bad. You shouldn't fight. You should use your words. Most teachers say that, right? But asking a child, okay, you hit this other child. How did that feel? And the child will most likely say that felt really good. It's okay. Can you describe what good felt like? Yeah, it felt like sometimes kids just make sounds. When my daughter was little, I would do it with her, and she didn't have the vocabulary, and she would just like, how did that feel? She just do that. That is allowing them to feel and process. That's all that's needed. You don't have to say it's okay that you hit another child. Say, okay, that made you feel good. What is it that you really wanted this child to do to you? I just wanted him to share the toy. I felt like he doesn't like me. Or whatever they come up with. That felt sad, right? How did that make you feel? It felt sad? No, it made me feel angry. Identify your feeling,
Healing. Okay.
right? And I'll
Fine.
take this just to link it to the question you asked me before. In organizations, all issues are relationship issues, right? You have an issue with your boss, you have an issue with a colleague, whatever. That's where you leak most of your energy, apart from the fact that sometimes your system doesn't work and all of those things. You ask people what made me frustrated there, like, oh, that person should have done this, they should have, this is how they should have presented it, whatever. I said, okay, what was your need in this situation? My need was for the work to get done. I said, okay, why? Well, because if it didn't get done, I would look bad to my boss. So what is it that you wanted to feel? You wanted to feel respect. When that person delivered, your employee delivered to you on time, you felt that they respected you, and you would gain the respect and the respect essentially of your boss. Identify your need first. We are asking people to do things, but we don't even know what need it will fulfill for us. We're so
Okay.
disconnected.
Okay. Okay. It was very beautifully explained. It's sounding actually very practical.
It's
It's
very
sounding very commonsensical. It's obviously not implemented entirely. So I want to talk about, like, evolving methods in treatment, because so far conventionally, people like do meditation. Some people go to these, spiritual leaders. A lot of it is like around meditation. Just sit quietly and you learn some breathing technique, or you go to a yoga class. So this yoga and meditation, I feel like they've just been sort of commoditized, and everyone's like been asked to subscribe to a yoga class. Then there is this whole, field of therapists who you can go visit and sort of do this consult, etc. Where do you see this world of healing, therapy, etc., evolve to going forward? What's going to happen
yeah.
5, 10 years from now? Are these yoga and meditation, is this still going to be around? What are some of the new
Yeah.
age techniques coming? What's happening in the treatment/cure and care economy?
Yeah, beautiful question. So yes, there's the yoga meditation, there's the therapy, and there's also now wearable devices and AI based kind of, those aura rings and, things that help you track stuff. And so a lot of my clients come to like, I've been doing this and that's how I know my cortisol level is high and, whatever, whatever. So how does this all fit in? It's actually a great thing that all these different modalities are coming in, because it's making people realize there are options and it's making people question more. So at the end of the day, we cannot ignore anything. Like in the whole spectrum of all of this, the basic thing is being in connection with oneself, being at peace with oneself. Then how to practically achieve that? By chanting. And I have been through this myself, using spirituality to escape life. It does not work. The practice is life. The practice is relationships, the quality. Or there's a beautiful saying by Ramdas, it says, if you think you're enlightened, go and spend a weekend with your family. So it's just so beautiful. So people need different portals to be able to access the same thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. Mantra is a kind of technology. It helps bring the system into a certain state. Somebody else is using a wearable device and doing a breathing technique. They are also doing a breathing technique. The person doing, Samavritti is also doing a breathing technique. But somebody thinks that yoga is woo-woo and somebody thinks technology is woo-woo. It doesn't matter, right? Therapy has its place, but it's only based on talking. And you have to understand all these are models where there is like annuity. And people are starting to catch on to that. Right? I'll go to the doctor, they'll give me this medication, then I'll go back and then they'll say, oh, it's not got better, or there is side effects. So I'll increase your dosage a little. And then, let's run some more tests. People have caught on to this. I go to a therapist, they'll say, okay, now we'll do this. Now I've been going to a therapist for 3 years. I feel better, but I'm still not sleeping well. So I want better solutions. I want Insta solutions, which don't exist. But at least I want to understand the process. So where I see the future, and it's already started going, it will go more, especially for people who really want to succeed in life in every way possible. They want to have a contented, fulfilled life. And because of the economics in at least most social classes across the world, like most, economies rather, is the economics are taken care of for people, right? People are earning well and in the strata that we're talking about, right? Then now it's like, no, but that's not enough. I want to feel fulfilled. I want to have a sense of purpose. So that's the goal. And then from there, you cannot ignore what you're eating and its effect on your mental health. All this stuff Yoga and Ayurveda has talked about for thousands of years. But now other people are opening up to it because there's functional nutrition, integrative medicine. They're talking about gut health. Suddenly, we were talking about Agni and gut health like thousands of years ago. So, for example, in my program, food is the first thing. Like, you get your food in place. I will guide you. I will tell you why. I'll give you the science, right? Then you have the breathing and meditation practices. And it's not like spend 1 hour. It's like, okay, before you eat your meal, do 3 minutes of this particular ratio breathing. You digest your food better. You will feel calmer. You'll get a break. 3 minutes, not a big ask, right? And then there's physical movement and its effect on physical health and mental health. And then there is introspective practice where you reflect on your life. And we call this svadhyay, but in modern terms, they're calling it metacognition. You think about how you're thinking. So these will become more and more sort of, and there will be a greater in this field as a field. Like, I was talking so far to general people, right, in our conversation. But as somebody who's looking to get into this kind of field of work, you can earn much more money and you will be able to earn incrementally, exponentially higher amounts of money and fulfillment from doing this kind of work. Because people are hungry for it. They have their needs taken care of. They have money. They have whatever. They have success. But they don't have health, mental and physical.
So you see this as a career of future. You see this sort of sector. Okay. Yes.
Huge.
Yes. Huge. Okay.
Huge.
If someone wants to prep for this sort of sector, let's say there's a high school kid who's like, look, I love this space and I want to be in this space. I watched this interview by Mirabelle. I'm so inspired. I want to be her in 20 years. What should they be doing? How do you skill for this kind of career?
Vibha, I didn't choose this as a career, so I can't give you a direct path to it. But what I will say is that, the important thing is to recognize what you want to feel. Like, what do you like from your heart? What do you really want to experience in your life? Once you Put that into one word. Don't put that into a big sentence. And I'm saying this for the person who might want to do this work or person who might want to do any kind of work in life.
Sure.
It doesn't matter, right? What do I want to feel? Put it in one word. Don't make it a big saga, a big like vision statement, a big like affirmation. No, one word. Me, I want to feel fulfilled. Or content. I think content is more my like more recent because it changes from time to
Sure.
time. Right?
You can name
Contentment.
your word. Okay, fine.
Yeah, right. And then what will help me feel content in whatever field I'm doing, in whatever relationship I'm in? Then you seek out the tools to do that. You can take a yoga teacher training, but you can take all these trainings. You can take functional medicine. There are so many people doing that. What will give you an edge is your energy. Whatever work you are doing, because data will be available. The AI, the race will be who has more data, right? That person will command more money, who has more data and better quality of data. And there will be many people who will have access to that. So what makes it special? Like we were talking just before, your ability to convey that data in a way that makes people find connection and value it. Value because of the transactional value of everybody wants to get something, right? But connection is even beyond value because you can't price it. And that's what people will pay a premium. Organizations will pay a premium for anybody that is able to bring a sense of coherence or connection into their space.
Okay. That's very beautifully framed. Since you've touched upon this more, the advent of more and more technology and more AI, etc., coming through, do you see this as a definitive trend? And in what ways are you seeing this trend getting implemented already around you? What are people using? We spoke a little bit about wearable devices. What else are you seeing in terms of tech now coming into, therapy, etc.? This world was away from tech, right? Like now tech is everywhere. Now it's
Tech
entered.
is everywhere. Yeah. So I've seen things where, we would say that if you chant a mantra, for example, people do a havan together, whatever. You can take in the past a photograph and it will show you the aura and, all of these. And now there's, so I was just working with a guy that's studying somewhere in California at this university. I forgot what. It's a fancy university. And he's a doctor. He was a chiropractor. And then he, had this experience and now he's studying these sort of alternative things, but in a biometric way. So they've come up with a device where you put your finger into like this thing and it will pick up and show you your chakras and your aura and like what organs out of balance and it gives you all this like data. It's really funny because earlier you would go to say someone who's a healer or something and you'd like they would tell you, or you would learn how to do it yourself with these techniques. Correct. So it's the same thing. It's just changing. It's just making it like socially validated. Like, okay, it's like science because they're testing, my salivary cortisol levels or, whatever it is. And it's telling me that. Definitely much more, it's a good thing because it's a portal for people who would never go to those kinds of practices to start going within. So it's going to increase. But I also feel like there will come a time where there will be a saturation with that. It's like, okay, I have all this data. I know all this stuff. Now what? What do we do with it? And how does that data really going to change my life? Like people wear those Apple watches all the time. Like, oh, I know my HRVs. When I sleep, I'm in REM sleep for so much time. I said, okay, great. So what do you do about that data? They're like, no, I just know it. So I want to change it. So I've tried like, drinking this tea before sleeping. I'm like, has it helped? So it's good to have that data that will keep increasing, but I don't think that's the solution.
Okay. So at the end of the
day, it's just another marketing, Vibha. It's another way to make more money. You sell more devices or you sell more mantras. Both are the same.
Okay. So, I mean, you're saying they're just trying to sort of put a science label on what is already sort of age-old wisdom, would make it into a product, make it more accessible, and then sell it. But underlying all these therapies, products, teachers, and preachers, you're saying what essentially matters is the connection with human beings and the most important connection with yourself.
Yes, the connection with yourself. Can I be authentic with myself? Not with the world. Can I be authentic with myself? Yes, I practice yoga, but I'm greedy, Vibha. I'm telling you that. I can say this on an interview because I'm not ashamed of it. I'm okay with it. I'm sometimes greedy. it's just human, and I can say that I feel very comfortable because I've been honest with myself. I'm okay being a greedy person sometimes. But in the past, I wouldn't have, because I'm spiritual, so I shouldn't be greedy. Now it's like a bad quality to have.
Okay.
So when you are authentic with yourself, it's liberating.
Okay, I think we should close on this note, because it's a beautiful note that you've touched upon. I think the whole conversation essentially captures all your authenticity. It captures. I mean, I feel like a deep connection with you in this short 30 minutes or so, and you've really been able to give a framework almost that can serve as a guide in all this sort of tumultuous future that we're all experiencing. There's so much anxiety built up. People don't know what to expect. People are losing their jobs. AI is coming in. It's a rough patch for a lot of people. We just went through the pandemic, and now we're going through the AI pandemic. But hopefully, basis what you've outlined, at least there seems to be some sort of semblance of a potential way of living. And if I feel like if more employers, employees, and educators are able to implement a little bit of what you try to explain to us, I think it could really make a fundamental shift. Anything you want to end with? Any last words of advice before we close?
Yeah, just be authentic with yourself. Be completely brutally honest with yourself. It hurts a lot sometimes, but it can be worked with. And then really everybody needs these 2 life skills. Learn how to regulate your nervous system. Using breathing is the best way. You don't need complicated breathing stuff, very simple stuff. And the other thing is keep tuning into your interoceptive function, which is your ability to notice from moment to moment the biofeedback that your body is giving you as sensation. That is data, not interpreting the data. We go into stories and narrative. It is not necessary. Spirituality is very practical. You notice the data. Okay, this feels tight. You keep tracking it instead of rejecting it. The more we allow, the more we just are in the flow of grace. There is really no need to be anxious about the future.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for helping me alleviate a little bit of my stress about the future. This was fantastic, Mirabelle. Thank you for doing this, and look forward to staying connected as always.
Thank you, Vibha. Thank you so much.
Thank you.